title here again is a video link. It's a video link to the news here about who it is that investigates the local police department when they do something corrupt. The state police, who tell me that it's not their job to police the police. Now, how do I know these tactics so inside and out? Because this is not my first rodeo. I grew up in the system until I turned 18. I was told that I didn't go out into the world at 18 because there was no emancipation in Nebraska, and that I was not a legal adult in Nebraska until I was 19. Then they dropped the charges. So they dropped the charges against me for being a runaway. And literally, at that moment, my guardian ad litem was no longer obligated to be my guardian ad litem, and they proceeded in that exact same court date. That exact same judge took less than maybe 10 minutes. Then they charged me as an adult by legally emancipating me first. They emancipated me so that I wouldn't have a guardian ad litem, so I would have no representation, so that they could bully me immediately. The current sheriff of Cheyenne County, he was the arresting officer in that case for disturbing the peace at Colton Boys and Girls Home over abuse by other people in the Colton Boys and Girls Home. Nobody cared if I was bullied. They sure as hell cared to call the cops when I screamed at one of the bullies to knock it the fuck off. Adam Frericks helped Scott DaCosta to get away with committing felonies against me, along with Robert Harvoy. Dole County, Nebraska. I tried to turn in Scott DaCosta after repeatedly being told by Nebraska State Police that it was not the state police's job to investigate. It's not their job to police the police. That I had to go back to Dole County Sheriff's Department and turn Scott DaCosta into himself again. Again. And again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And by never, ever acknowledging that I was trying to turn in these officers were allowed to again, and again, and again, and again retaliate against me because I tried to turn them in. In the next video for the screenshot, it's going to be a message I sent to Nicole Knudsen. I always went to someone, and usually many someones, immediately when a crime was committed. I think Nicole Knudsen was the 7th or 8th person that I let know. It's not that I didn't try to get help. It's not that I didn't go to my friends for help. It's that none of them cared. Scott DaCosta's reign of terror continues to this day. We'll get into that on the next one. This video is from the news. It shows you the Tillamook officers, the Tillamook sheriff that I was trying to turn in these officers to. You get to see what he's in jail for. If you'd have paid attention to my channel, you'd have gotten to hear where some of them drugs went and who some of the other officers are that are distributing them. Officers that I have to speak to nicely and kindly. Like Lotham. The next two videos, one of them from this morning and one of them from yesterday, because the state police here are doing the same thing. Even though the piece of evidence that is the link in this video is a link to, well, it's a link to the news talking about how Oregon State troopers are investigating the Tillamook police for things that I'd exposed on my YouTube channel 11 months ago. Things that I went to the, I went to Will Chapel of the Tillamook Headlight Herald about 9 months ago. 9 months ago, I went to him about it. And then there's Saya. She was the receptionist when I first went there. Now she's got more responsibilities. We've got her and Will both recorded on my channel. Pretty splotchy and blotchy, but at least I tried. That's right, people. I told on them first. I always do. The only thing worse than a child molester is someone who helps them to get away. Like my mother, Angela K. Wade. Like Dual County Sheriff Scott DaCosta. I was trying to turn in Scott DaCosta for assaulting me. See, I tried to turn Scott DaCosta in for their abuse of power repeatedly, refusing to do their job, sending me around in circles, sending me to other jurisdictions, sending me to the state police. State police kept on sending me to Scott DaCosta to investigate it. Just like these state police here in Oregon want to send me to the police officers who committed these crimes to turn them into themselves. They're corrupt, damn it. By the way, it takes 6 months to diagnose someone as schizophrenic. The other thing is, if you take into account all of the abuse that I'm going through, the fact that I have autism and PTSD, I have been diagnosed with both. It does take a while to diagnose those things. I was also diagnosed with them in my youth. The tactics utilized by these officers are grilling tactics and blow-off tactics. They don't work on hardened criminals. They work on victims of long-term abuse. Someone has to be victimized for a long time to be manipulated by police in that way, and they have to know that they have to be afraid of the police. The next two videos, one of them is from yesterday. Neubauer telling me that they can't investigate themselves, that I have to go to the state police. The other one's from this morning, the state police telling me that it's not their job to investigate it's not their job to police the police. Meanwhile, they're sending me back and forth between each other for 11 months now. 11 months now. Oh yeah, they're also sending me to services in Multnomah County and Clatsop County, trying to bully me to move elsewhere, sending me to mental health places that instead of doing their jobs, they're fleecing the American public too. I've also got these mental health workers speaking about the corruption. Dr. Danelle Boggs quit her job at TFCC because of the corruption. Told me that outright. It is recorded on my channel. Still did not do her job and sent me to TFCC anyway for case management. TFCC did not set me up for case management. They set me up for therapy. And it's recorded, them telling me outright that they did not set me up for case management. Dr. Danelle Boggs, I went back to her and she said, well, I didn't send you there for therapy. I sent you there for case management. TFCC said, well, you weren't sent here for case management. You were sent here for therapy. No, these corrupt cops sent me to their friends for rubber stamps. They're trying to get me re-diagnosed with something that makes it okay that they didn't do their jobs, something they can use to discredit me. Officer Burke, who was supposed to help Natalie Bollinger by investigating, by calling me before Natalie was killed. He didn't do his job, and he was one of many officers I tried to turn in because they didn't do their jobs. Officer Burke, along with Officer Jonas of Longmont Police Department, where he was transferred to, he was allowed to harm me again by lying to the hospital, claiming that I was schizophrenic, while they claimed to me that they were taking me to the hospital so that I could safely make a report. The same thing that officers did in Boulder County the night that I was assaulted by Officer Waylon Lolatai. And magically, in all of these cases, their body cameras required an act of God, according to my public defenders. Required an act of God. My public defenders, in every single case, refused to requisition the body camera evidence. So I've been through this before. Never trust an adult who asks you to keep secrets. And if you can't record it, you best be goddamn sure that they're lying to you. So you'll get to hear Tillamook police officer Neubauer saying the same thing as many of his co-workers. Of course, they also send me to 5 or 6 different places, don't they? And all those places, magically, it's none of their jobs. None of their jobs. Instead of doing their jobs for a disabled adult, they use it to try to discredit me because I'm trying to turn in their friends. And then it is also recorded in these places where they literally admit that it is their friends that they're trying to send me to in exactly the places that I'm trying to turn in to them. If I'm trying to turn in care to you, and you're supposed to be Adult Protective Services, and you tell me that you're going to send me to your friend at care, if I'm telling Dr. Danelle Boggs that I need to turn in Tillamook Family Counseling Center, and she sends me to Tillamook Counseling Center, and they set me up for something completely different. All of these people are intentionally fucking up the paperwork. Clerical errors in their favor every goddamn time, because there is no civilian oversight. The one from this morning is from the state troopers. Multiple calls to the state troopers. State police. Same thing. I even called their central office in Salem. Same thing. They also sent me to full answering machines and the wrong numbers. Send me back to places that I'd already been instead of putting me in contact with a fucking lieutenant. They already sent me to that place. I told them it didn't work. They send me right back to that place. Well, we got to hear that 911 call night before last, where that 911 operator wanted to lie to me. He knew he was committing felonies while he was doing it, but it is standard procedure for them. When he realized that he had just been busted committing felonies and bullying an at-risk adult, putting my life at risk, he changed his fucking tune and called me back and did his fucking job. What did he do before that? He ate up 6 minutes of important 911 call to badger me, berate me, lie to me, and make false insinuations, and to hang up on me rather than transfer me. to be condescending and belittling, and to play fucking victim. This is systemic abuse, caught red fucking handed, repeatedly, over and over and over, with blatant and obvious evidence, and cowards who want to take it down. Take it down now. You threatened my family, you son of a bitches. Hell no, I won't shut up. I'm down to 2% battery, so I gotta end this video and let it charge up a little bit. These pieces of shit help child molesters and rapists to get away with it. They repeatedly assisted predators of mine, like Robert Franklin Warnick. And the ones here, Robert Farnsworth. There are other victims of these people too. When I tell on these people who are harming children, many of them already have a history of abuse against their own children. Most of them admitted to being on drugs, and I'm being sent to those people. What about the conversation with Nicole Vertner, another mandated reporter from the hospital? I have told all of these mandated reporters about the assault by Stefanel Stefanides on January 28th of this year. Look how long it has been. Look how long I've been sent around in circles. Look how long they have taken advantage of my disabilities. Look how this slander from all the way in Colorado and in Virginia before that has been used to deprive me of my rights. How bias and assumptions of guilt. Positions of power being used improperly and illegally and immorally. And they can abuse it again to hide the evidence of their crimes. What the hell is wrong with you? Forcing a man to break the law to show that it's against the law. To show that these officers are lying to me about it not being against the law. Neubauer told me I needed to go to Nebraska State Police, and Nebraska State Police always sends me to someone else who tells me it's not their job. It's not their job to investigate. They can't look at evidence. Allegations of abuse against an at-risk individual, be they child or adult. If they are a child, an elderly person, or an adult, a disabled adult, in an at-risk situation, nobody, not a single person, has a reasonable expectation of privacy. Not one. I am a disabled person. In many of these cases, they locked me up. Clerical error after clerical error. Until my disability was taken away and I had to try to fight for 1.5 years to get it back. Meanwhile, they pretended that I was not disabled because I wasn't getting disability money. Because it was taken away from me. Because I was arrested and kept far longer than I should have been. Then I was deprived of my rights in court by them claiming that I failed to appear when I was illegally prevented from going to court through incarceration and clerical error after clerical error. And public pretenders who would not do their jobs to collect evidence or requisition evidence or call witnesses. They would not investigate. No matter what. It is systemic abuse and it is rampant. Utilize any jurisdiction, bully me into moving to another jurisdiction, tell me I have to turn it into another jurisdiction where I'm told that I have to turn it into the same jurisdiction. Officers who go to church with these police officers. I'm sent to gang members and known affiliates of gang members, including having to go to try to get something to eat at McDonald's, a place run by a man named Nick, who's got Aryan Brotherhood tattoos. Yes, I recorded in public. I'm stuck in public. I'm forced to do this stuff in public. I'm forced to go places that are public to try to do this stuff, like the library, Starbucks, Fred Meyer's. I'm forced to do this in public because my accommodations for my disabilities have not been met. When I did have low-income apartment, I still had to spend all my money running back and forth to the courts over villains like Waylon Lolatai. One of their blow-off tactics is to repeatedly only allow you to do the housing thing. Oh, I just do housing. I just do housing. That's all these advocates will do is housing. Takes 2 years to get housing, and when you tell them I already filled out the housing paperwork, and yes, I do keep checking up on it over and over, but the thing is, I have to turn in crimes against me right away. If I have to relocate, and it only takes me 5 minutes to relocate, and then I call 911, they pretend that there's no longer a problem because I relocated. Meanwhile, one of the instructions I have been given repeatedly is that if I am in harm's way, that it is okay for me to relocate. If them reading back my number puts my life at risk, puts my number at risk, and gives it out to the public, then it is against the law and against their protocol to read it back to me for safety reasons. They know these safety issues and protocols, and they're intentionally neglecting them to force me into harm's way. Including Tillamook Family Counseling Center, TCCHC, Dr. Danelle Boggs, Katie, who was there for the assault and initiated the assault by Stephan L. Stephanides. Because rather than do something to help me to turn in the assaults, instead of calling the police and having them show up as a mandated reporter should, what did she do? She bullied me into trick questions, the ones that they use when it's just you and your friends and family aren't there. When your friends and family aren't there, they will focus on the abuse because they have to. And if they try to change the subject, your friend or family member should be pissed. Hey, he's being harmed. Why the fuck are we being pushed to housing? We can do housing after we fill this shit out. You know it's going to take 2 years to get housing, at least. You also know I already filled out the housing paperwork. You also know that I have been sent to you because you're supposed to help disabled people who are being fucking harmed and turning it in because the police refuse to do their jobs. Fucking disgusting. My battery is almost dead, so I gotta turn this off, let it charge up a bit, and we'll make the next one. Nobody will take it from me. Nobody will listen to me. No one will accommodate something so simple as, hey, the crime was just committed. You can go look it up. You can go talk to people and harass people and look at evidence. Without having that paperwork there, it was an emergency and you should have checked the body cameras. You should have checked the cameras at the business. You get to see how one of the officers went into Denny's. Mike McKinnister was there. And that man showed the video to that officer right away. No paperwork, just a call. A 911 call. Someone called 911 and had Officer Lotham show up over the Molly situation. Did he bother to go in and get the cameras? No, he talked over me. Sent me around in circles. Told me to do things that I was incapable of doing. Bullied me. But he was nice about it. So I gave him good marks for bullying nicely. I really did. Even my gang rapists in the Tillamook Police Department have stated that it's wrong for me to be sent to them to turn in other rapists, or themselves for rape. You don't want me to use the word rape? Go to Teresa Massilia's channel and ask her what's worse, being raped or having to turn it into the Boulder Police Department.